Hey guys, back again, property 2. All right, this is the second property on the list of homesteading that I am looking to purchase. Do you hear that? Birds, peaceful quietness and serenity. You can't get that anywhere else but on a homestead in a rural area away from the city. So like I said, this is property 2. And it's actually my favorite property, next to the first video I took, showing the first property with the farmhouse. It came with about 20 acres or so. This piece of property comes with 42 acres. It's at the top of the budget, but it is a wonderful piece of property. It sits at almost the very end of the road. Now, this would make the ideal homestead. The only problem is that, like every other property, it has its pros and cons. One of the pros is super quiet, super peaceful. It has everything that I'm looking for in a homestead, that my family's looking for in a homestead. Have nice open space. It's about 60-40, where 40% of it is open fields. 40% is in a tree, is wooded with lots of pine, lots of oak, different type of hardwood. So we have that for if we wanted to build up more, or simply just let it grow. Another pro for this property is that it has outbuildings. Has a small house on it, has a couple of barns, has a couple of garage, and I believe the owner is selling this piece with all the stuff. So as you can see, he has a couple of, mowers here, riding mowers here, and you just can't beat the birds right now. Now I'm out here today because I wanted to talk to something really important about choosing a homestead. And one of the main factors of getting a homestead was getting something with water. And it just so happened it's been raining all week, and I wanted to have a talk with you guys about fluid dynamics, and hydrodynamics, and exactly the topic of what is the water doing on your land. Is it pooling? Is it causing an issue? Is there no issue? Is there no water? This property so far that I've seen has about 3 springs. And these springs, it seems to be year round. Now I've been coming to this property for the last 6 months, trying to see it in different weather, when it snows, when it rains, during the sun. Now it's coming up. Now it's the spring and it's coming up into the summertime. I get to see this property. And because this property is off the beaten path, you tend not to get a lot of interest in it. And that's another thing when choosing a piece of property, is how much interest you get in the property, and how much people, because now you start a bidding war, and something that you really want, and something for a good price, and somebody else wants it, and you just want to stay away from that. But yeah, so back to the water. You have to see if the water pools right outside one of the outhouse, by the house, the dwelling that you'll be living in. What problems are the water causing? This property is on a slope, So unlike the first piece that I showed in my first video, this property actually is a downhill slope, so the runoff is pretty significant. Now, is it significant to stop any kind of production? Is it causing the wet areas in most of the open areas? No, but it's still at a slope, so you're still going to have that runoff. And since it's been raining so hard, I thought it was the perfect day to come out here and grab a couple of videos of it. Now, it's very important that you're not in like a swampy area or somewhere, it's just not tillable. You can't grow the stuff that you want because of too much water. And this property seems to have a balance of everything. Downside to this property, the distance from where I work. This piece of property is about an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours drive on a bad day to work. And I'm going to still be working. Like I said, I've been in the science and engineering game for a while, and I plan on staying in it. Even though I'm, tending off to getting a homestead and all that. So, I definitely want to stay in my job. I do like my job. So, and that's where going to be a major of my profit comes from until I start the homestead and make it could be self-reliant, self-sufficient, and have all those things going on. And like what I was saying, that the bad part about this property is the distance. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours away from work and family and friends, which is not a bad thing because I've driven a lot longer, but that drive will, eventually take its toll. Another bad thing about this property is that there is a gun club right over yonder in the trees. Now that the trees have grown back in, you can't really see it, but you can hear them shooting. You can, people are in and out of there, and it could be a possible issue. I'm not saying it is a possible issue, but it could be a possible issue. And when you're home relaxing, trying to listen to the birds and hearing rifles and shotguns and handguns and all that type of stuff going off on Saturdays and Sundays, especially when you're trying to relax, is kind of so that's the biggest drawback of this property. Now, this property does have a spring, and I am going to develop that spring, and I am going to set in a pond of this willow that's right here. So hopefully I can get this nice pond dug in somewhere, probably at the end of the property down there, or even over right here. Now, the property goes all the way up the side of the mountains. It's a mountainside property, and it goes all the way up the side of the mountain. And I'll try to get up there as quickly as possible to get this in tape. But this is property 2. Now, generally when I'm looking for a homestead or looking for a farm, I like that the building's set up so I don't have to do any new structures right away. I can just jump in, I can start. I have no problems getting raw land, and I think property 3 and 4, I'll show you like what the raw lands that I've been looking at seems to be, and why they've perked my interest, and that will be next. But I right now I just want something I can move right into, starting a homestead, and not have a lot of worries on hand. Going into the forest, the foresty part up the hill. Not gonna go too far up in here, but like I said, it's cool. It's a pretty amazing piece of property. I'm shooting in high definition, so it's about to cut off in about 10 seconds, and I'll restart it. I'll have a part 2. So this video will be a little bit longer than... All right, part 2. Still heading up the hill. So I'll keep this at 20 minutes or so, because I can take all day to make a video like this. Up here is absolutely beautiful. Plenty of woods, plenty of trees, plenty of animals that I don't hope to run into right now. And, just imagine the kids running around and playing in all this. I like to say this is what I grew up in. So yeah. But this has been a beautiful, beautiful piece of property. And I chose to come out on the one of the rainiest days to get some video of property too. And I've been here several times, so we are likely going to make an offer on this piece of property. If we can't come to a decision with the first piece. But this is as far as I'm going up. It goes way up the hill, but for right now, I'll stick to right here. I am armed just in case something crazy jumps out the wood, but hopefully nothing crazy will happen. And you just don't get that peace and quiet, so I'll stop talking for a while and give you a look around at some of the some of the areas around this piece of property. As I go back down the hill, you can see the property in view. And this is property number 2. And I said property 2 is amazing. I tend to tell people when looking for a homestead and not a farm, to stay away from the 100% farm because you just don't have the wooded area. It's 100% tillable. It's like the piece of land that has the home on it, and those are generally don't make the best homesteads because you're going to find yourself planting trees and when you're trying to be self-sufficient, there's no wood on the land, most likely there's no water on the land, it's all kind of little complication that you're, as a first-time homesteader, will run into when you get 100% tillable. And I like the ratio that this has. You can see the field way out there in yonder and in front of the house, and I'll walk down to the end of the street, and I'll also walk back up and in this video. And as you can see, this is a very, very, very nice piece of property. It's 40, like I said before, it's 40% tillable, 60% wooded, or probably 30% tillable, 70% wooded, which is a ideal spot. I don't want a total barren land that I'm trying to farm. I'm not going to do the big agri, not yet at least, or probably not ever. I get to sit out here, get a swimming pond going, get the kids playing out in the yard, get the market garden growing, getting the herbal garden growing, plant a few flowers and a few more trees, fruit trees. Have a little small, maybe an acre orchards growing different fruits. And because this property have 42 acres, I can play around as much as I like. Another great thing about getting such a big piece of land is that the land directly across, right there, directly across where I'm looking at, it's also vacant land. So it's just raw, natural land. And, I'll talk to the owners and see if I end up picking up this piece, I can end up picking up another 40 acres, 80 acres, another 26-acre farm that I pass on the way here that's attached to this piece of land. That's also probably, we speak to the owners and see if they're willing to sell. But you want land with the ability to expand if needed or if wanted. You don't want too many houses. As you can see, there are a few neighbors way off in yonder over this direction, but you can't see them. And the gun club is over in this direction, but you can't see the gun club either. Starting to drizzle and rain again, so keep this video short to probably another 10 minutes or so. But as you can see, it's really just set up already. Minus the drive time, minus the gun club. It sits in the back, and it's a really good piece of property. Now, there's a few other downside when it comes to me personally, but that's another topic for another day. Right now, get to enjoy the woodpeckers and the birds. I'm gonna take you over this way, back to the willow again, and I'm gonna take you over to the. Well, actually, I'm gonna go down the road first, got the driveway. Oh, and I love a house. My favorite part is I love a house that sits in the back of the land or sits off and not close to the road. Property one had that house that was super close to the road, didn't really have any front yard, but it had, about 20 acres was in the back of it, which isn't a big deal. But when you're looking for something specific, every little notch or every little thing that's just like, oh, really, that it just doesn't have that stream in front, it just doesn't have that spring water that you want, it just doesn't have as much tree on the property as you like, it just kind of sets the list. And then when you're choosing the property, you're like, all right, what's the pros and cons of the property? Distance versus the amount of land, water versus no water, neighbors versus no neighbors. I don't know if you'll be able to see the neighbors off. That little white speck off, that's the neighbor's house. You're not gonna be really able to see until, for me, I just can't do a I can't do a flat piece of land. I can't do it. I love my rolling hills. I love the fact that the kids can use sleds in the wintertime when it snows and slide down this hill. I love it. I love all this property that comes with it. I love everything about it. This door is open. This is a garage. And like I said, it's pretty much set up for trying to get a shot inside. It's set up for farming already. It comes with two tractors, two nice tractors right here. 1, 2, and I don't know, if it's working or not, but they look like they're still in decent tractors. And if I'm not mistaken, they look like Ford, but I can't really tell, and kind of dark in here. This is one of the tractor garage that are in the house. Okay, I'm being a little long-winded. been a little long with it. I said I was going to stop this at 10 minutes, but I just went into the barn. It has 2 tractors in there, and I'm not sure where this video stopped recording, but started again because I'm just about done here. Rain is coming down. So far, I like the hydrodynamics that's going on the land, where everything kind of rolls downhill. Living on the side of a hill, everything kind of flows downhill. So there's not much place that you're going to hit stagnant water, or marshy area. So I'm heading back up now. And until next time, peace and shalom. The smartest guy in the room out. Catch you on property number 3.